Hello and welcome to African Farming. My name is Bathabile Modutoane, and today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. Now in studio with us we have Beverly Mhlabane from Zapa Farms. Beverly, now you are an egg producer. How did all that come about?
Thank you. Yes, I am. Where it started is I went one day to a local supermarket. I bought a tray of eggs and I found it very expensive. And then I decided, no, there must be a better way of doing this thing. I bought 10 layers and put it at my house in the backyard. After about 2 months of getting about 8 to 9 eggs a day, we were egged. My neighbor, who's a bodybuilder, thought he could bite my eggs. So I thought this is a business opportunity. Now I've got 7,000 layers, producing about 6.5 eggs every day.
7,000 layers. So tell me, are you still employed by somebody or you do this full time?
I actually found my calling. I do this full time. I've been farming for 3 years in May.
So what are some of the challenges that you are seeing now when you're running this business?
Okay, I think one of the most important things that you need to understand when you go into farming is you need to understand what are the requirements to ensure that it's a successful business. One of the biggest challenges is biosecurity. Biosecurity is a measure of ensuring that your farm is safe from any biological or chemical harms. As an example, when there was an avian influenza in 2017 South Africa, it wiped out a whole lot of flock of chicken in South Africa. So the management of the farm is really important. I went and bought layers from another farmer. Unfortunately, that farm wasn't following proper biosecurity. In a space of 2 weeks, I lost 48% of my flock. Now, you can imagine, if you're buying a hen for about 100 rands and you lose 48%, that's 48,000 rands down the drain. So your management is really, really important.
Here's a scary question. What happens if you have an outbreak in your production? What do you do with all those chickens?
If it's avian flu, everything is culled.
Culled?
You lose the flock. That's why the management is so important. Prevention is better than cure.
Who do you sell these eggs to?
I've got local restaurants, I've got local spaza shops, got into a contract with a local supermarket.
Beverly, egg layers can be quite labor intensive, and there's a certain program that you need to follow in order to farm sustainably. Please tell me more about this.
When you want to produce optimally, you need to give your birds optimal conditions. One of the things is making sure that the lighting program is followed properly. Your feeding program, your water, there must be clean water all the time. When you buy your your point of lays from a reputable company, they will give you a program to follow. With that program, it will give you a history of when that chicken hatched, what vaccination they've put it, and what vaccination you should follow in order to prevent diseases, potential diseases that can harm your flock and eventually destroy your whole production.
Looking at what you do, many people don't actually know that you can actually turn this into a profitable business. And I heard you say that you bring in people from the township to see how this whole process it's done. How important is skills transfer?
I've seen it with my children. We grew up in a township. Most of them don't know a lot of domestic animals. A lot of kids, when they think career, they think engineering, they think doctors, they think teachers. I'm not saying they're not important, but however, you may need a doctor once or twice in your life, a lawyer. However, you need a farmer every day because you eat every day. And this is a potential business. I mean, if you look at what our country needs, it needs employment. Farming is really important. And now the government is talking about making sure that agriculture is enhanced. Now, if you've got a poor township person who's never been to a farm, and you bring it, you should see the excitement that these kids have when they come to the farm and they see where the egg comes from and they touch the feed. It's such an inspiration. So I've partnered with a local primary school, and before COVID I used to run a holiday program where we'd bring these kids and experience what farming is all about. And it's important to teach them even the business of farming. You make example, if you buy an egg, how much is one egg? If you've got 100,000 eggs and you sell one egg for R1, how much money will you have? Isn't that a positive spin?
It is.
However, for you to get into this business, you need to have passion. As I've highlighted before, the risks are high. And then you need to have support. If you've got one farm, my farm, we employ roughly about 8 people. It's a 2-hectare plot. Potential, currently we've been approved to have 100,000 layers on our farm. One of the biggest challenges that we've got is that infrastructure is very expensive. Now, if you get a big retailer partnering with a local farmer, first of all, your cost of logistics is low. Because now instead of taking your produce to a warehouse and a warehouse to another warehouse and then another distribution, you take it directly to your customer. It's fresh.
What does the future hold for Zappa Farms?
My dream for Zappa Farm is that we get to our 120,000 that we have been approved through the environmental impact assessment. The next thing is to go from eggs to put value on our product by making liquid egg and powder egg. As you know, South Africa is facing an uphill in ensuring that we have employment. Now, if you have 10 farms that produce 100,000 eggs a day, and you have a facility where you can convert those eggs into liquid and eventually powder eggs, you now change the shelf life from 5 to 6 weeks to about a year. Now, this is a dream that I have for Zappa Farm, and this is a dream and a model that I'd like to have in our community. So now, instead of one farm producing 1 million eggs, can you imagine having 10 farms producing 100,000 eggs to produce that million? And that creates employment in our country.
And that's far more sustainable.
That's far more sustainable.
Beverly, thank you so much for your time. It is possible. Dream big. You heard the story. Local solutions for local problems. Please join us for more conversations on #AfricanFarming or africanfarming.com. And remember, we farm better together.